Hey guys, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to MBBS Treasure Channel. Till now we have discussed about the anatomy and physiology of external ear. In this video we are going to discuss about the anatomical landmarks, what are the physiological functions of the contents that are present in the middle ear. So let's start our today's video. So friends, in this video we are going to talk about the anatomy, physiology and histology all about the middle ear. What are the contents of middle ear and what are its function, physiological function? All we are going to discuss in this video. In my previous video I have explained about the external ear and its content. The external ear contains the pinna or auricle, then it contains the external acoustic meatus. So this is the pinna or auricle and it contains the external acoustic meatus, and then after it contains the tympanic membrane. After tympanic membrane or behind tympanic membrane we have the middle ear, and the contents of middle ear are present in the tympanic cavity. So in this video we are going to conclude the contents and its functions of the middle ear and the walls of tympanic cavity. So first let's discuss about the contents of middle ear. Middle ear is nothing but it's an air-filled cavity that are present in the tympanic cavity, and it is mostly under the middle cranial fossa and behind the temporal bone. The middle ear consists the main ear ossicles or ear bones. These are the smallest bones that are present in the middle ear. What are they? They are malleus, incus and stapes. Okay, these bones helps in mechanical vibration, production of mechanical vibration that leads to a change or transformation of sound energy from sound energy to mechanical vibration, and from mechanical vibration then to fluid vibration. Okay, so the ear ossicles perform the important function of mechanical vibration that leads to transformation of sound wave from the external ear towards the inner ear. Okay, so this is the function of ear ossicles. As the bones are present, obviously relating with the bones there will be joints and ligaments. So ossicular joints between the malleus and incus and stapes are present. Attaching to the bones we have separate ligaments, or we have distinctive ligaments that are ligaments of malleus and ligaments of incus. Okay. Addition with ear ossicles, joints and the ligaments we have muscles. Okay, so these muscles are attached with structures that are present in the middle ear and helps in more resonating or helps in more dampening of the sound. Along with the middle ear, the certain kinds of cavities are surrounding the middle ear, and we are going to discuss all about these cavities. This is the structure that I have drawn here to represent you about the middle ear, what are its content and certain like a view. This is the sideward views, or if you are looking from the top view, this is the anterior view of the middle ear or the anterior view of the tympanic cavity. Okay, this is the tympanic cavity. The black box represents the tympanic cavity, and here from the anterior view you are looking towards the tympanic cavity, and it is the top view of the middle ear or tympanic cavity. Anterior to tympanic cavity we have tympanic membrane, and anterior to the tympanic membrane we have external acoustic meatus, and finally the pinna. Okay, so this is the structure. First of all, we are going to discuss about the middle ear cavities. What are these middle ear cavities? As the whole middle ear is filled with air, so these cavities also helps in the process of pneumatization, and these air filled cavities are surroundingly present near the middle ear. So what are these cavities? The first important question comes here, that the teacher asks that what are the middle ear cavities. As we know, the middle ear contents are present in the tympanic cavity. So first, the tympanic cavity will be first coming into your mind. Then secondly, the tympanic cavity connects anteriorly to the nasopharynx through the eustachian tube. Okay, so the eustachian tube comes next. Eustachian tube, then tympanic tube. Then next what comes? Adytus ad antrum. Antrum is the largest mastoid air cell. So antrum, connecting to antrum, we have a passage that connects the middle ear with the antrum, and that passage is known as adytus ad antrum. That is also a tubular cavity. Then after it connects with the antrum. Okay, then after it connects with the antrum, and surrounding the antrum we have small mastoid air cells that are also filled with air. So we have all these cavities near the middle ear. So the question comes, what are the cavities surrounding the middle ear, or what are the cavities that are present in the middle ear? The eustachian tube, tympanic cavity, eustachian tube, tympanic cavity, adytus ad antrum, then mastoid air cells, and finally the antrum. Okay, this is the first question. Then what are the function of ear ossicle is the second question. Next we are coming towards what are the ligaments that are attached with the ear ossicles. Here in this structure, from anterior view, you can see that these are the blue colored are the bones. Okay, so these are the bones that are namely malleus, then incus, and this stapes. Okay, and in between the ear ossicles we have the joints in between them. The ligaments that are attached to the separate, or the ligaments that are attached to the proper ear ossicle, like ligament of malleus, it means that the ligament is attached with the malleus and it helps in the vibration process of malleus. So what are the ligaments? Anterior, lateral, and superior. As we are seeing from the anterior view towards the ear ossicles, here we can see the ear ossicles are joined with the joints are connected, and anteriorly we have the eustachian tube, and this red sign represents the tympanic membrane. Anterior means towards, like this means towards anteriorly the malleus head will be connected with a ligament. Okay, this is the umbo. Okay, on the surface of tympanic membrane we can see umbo, and then the handle of malleus, and then the short process of malleus. This is the umbo, this is the handle of malleus, and here we have the short process of malleus, and then we have the head of malleus. So the malleus will be surrounded by the ligaments of malleus, and these three ligaments are anterior, means one will be connected in anterior direction in this direction, other one will be connecting towards the lateral direction, means it will be pulling towards the tympanic membrane, and thirdly it will be attached with the superior. Okay, so if here we have the malleus, we have three ligaments attaching to the malleus. What are they? One will be anterior, second one will be lateral, and third one will be superior. So these ligaments helps or tends the process of vibration inside the malleus ear ossicles. Then the ligament of incus, attaching with the ligament of incus, what we have one is superior and other one is posterior. As we know that we are looking to this structure from anterior view, so if this front surface is anterior, so the back surface will be posterior. Okay, so from this you can clarify that the superior and posterior ligament attaches in this direction, superior and posteriorly. That helps or that stabilizes the incus at its position with the joint that is present in between the malleus and incus. Okay, so that is the main function of the ligaments. Then what are the muscles that are present in the middle ear. From this structure, you can see two red line structure that I have, or red line that I have drawn. One is this one and the second one is this. One attaches with the tympanic membrane and second attaches with the stapes muscle. Stapes ear ossicle. What is the function of this muscle? First of all, these muscles helps to protect and accommodate the middle ear. Protective means, accommodative means. What do you mean by this? Protective means if the amount or the energy of sound wave is much more larger than the requirement, then we don't require enough amount of disturbance or enough amount of vibrations inside the middle ear. For that only, for the protection or to stop the excessive vibrations occurring due to large sound, we have these muscles. Okay, first we have the tensor tympani muscle, this one that tenses the tympanic membrane or that dampens the sound like chewing or shouting or during thunder. So it dampens or it pulls the tympanic membrane and do not allow for excess vibrations of the tympanic membrane. This tensor tympani muscle is located in the bony part or superior to the bony part of the eustachian tube. Then comes the second one is the stapedius muscle. What is the function of stapedius muscle? Listen, once here is the sound wave or the vibration. This is the sound wave vibration. When the vibration comes, what happens? It helps in increasing the pressure on the surface of the tympanic membrane first, and when the pressure on the surface of tympanic membrane increases, it vibrates the tympanic membrane. When the tympanic membrane vibrates, then the ossicles or the malleus attached through the surface with the tympanic membrane starts vibrating. When the malleus starts vibrating, then after the intermalleus and incus joints starts vibrating, then the whole through the mechanical vibration process, the steps also vibrate. The footsteps of the vibrates that lands over the oval window. When the vibrations occur, it continuously beats over the surface of oval window, and this oval window is connected with the cochlea. That cochlea is a part of inner ear, and when the vibration takes place, this vibration will produce inside the fluid also. Okay, that is the reason why this transformation of energy takes place from the sound energy to mechanical energy, and from mechanical vibration producing energy get transformed into the fluid energy. Okay, so the energy is conserved in this manner, and we now know that how the energy transformation takes place. So the stapes ear ossicle is attached on the surface of the oval window, and to control this stapes muscle, to stabilize this stapes muscle, to stabilize the vibration of stapes muscle, we have a muscle that is known as stapedius muscle. Okay, it is attached to the stapes that stabilizes the stapes, and stapedius reflex. What do you mean by stapedius reflex? The reflex that occurs to tighten the tympanic membrane and decrease the movement or dampen the sound to protect the inner ear. Okay, it's simple that it stabilizes or protects the inner ear from excessive vibration or from excessive mechanical vibration. So this was all about the middle ear contents, cavities, ossicles, malleus and muscles. Okay, now let's talk about the tympanic cavity. This is the tympanic cavity that we know all about its content. Now let's learn about the landmarks surrounding the tympanic cavity. So now let's talk about the tympanic cavity. Tympanic cavity is the air-filled cavity that contains these ear ossicles, ligaments and muscles. And this tympanic cavity is divided into three parts. One is epitympanum. First is epitympanum, then mesotympanum, and third is hypotympanum. According to what structure these parts are being divided. First, here you can see these two blue lines represents the tympanic box. Okay, so this box represents the two blue lines. So one is superior surface and the last one is the inferior surface of this tympanic cavity. This epitympanum is a region that is limited in between the superior tympanic wall and the superior line that starts from the superior end of pars flaccida of tympanic membrane. Okay, and the mesotympanum is limited in between the region of tympanic membrane that ends at the last point of pars tensa, and hypotympanum starts from the pars tensa, or superiorly it starts from the end part of pars tensa to the inferior border of the tympanic cavity. Okay, so the tympanic cavity has been divided into three: epitympanum, mesotympanum and hypotympanum. What are the next question comes that what are the walls of tympanic cavity and what are the important landmarks present on the tympanic cavity? This structure represents the walls of tympanic cavity. You just need to analyze that this box structure, when I am going to open the box structure, then the box structure will be having one will be superior wall, one will be inferior wall, and then one will be lateral wall, means this wall. Okay, towards the lateral surface we have the tympanic membrane. So one will be lateral wall, and then the medial wall, anterior wall and posterior wall. So what are the contents that are present in these walls? First, the superior wall. Superiorly, it has the cranium or the middle cranial fossa, and in between the middle cranial fossa and the tympanic cavity, we have a thin bone, that is the tegmen tympani, that separates the middle cranial fossa from the tympanic cavity. Next, we have the inferior wall of the tympanic cavity, have the jugular or pars jugularis vein. We have the jugular vein in the inferior part. In the lateral part, we have the tympanic membrane. This represents the lateral part, and in the lateral part we have this tympanic membrane. In the medial part, this is the medial part. Okay, from the medial, posterior and anterior, we have important landmarks that we should remember. How we are going to remember this? Listen, this is the medial surface, this is the anterior surface, and this is the posterior surface. On the medial surface we have a promontory. So what is that promontory? Promontory is the projection that are formed due to the circular turning or the first turn of the cochlea on the medial surface of the medial wall of tympanic cavity. Okay, it is a projection of the first round turn of the cochlea, and that projection forms the promontory structure. Near to promontory we have the oval window. Oval window is nothing but it's a structure that continues with the cochlear fluid, and as we know that in front of the oval window we have the foot of steps. Due to the vibration of steps, the oval window also vibrate, and the same vibration spreads to the fluid that are present in the cochlea. Then we have here the round window. This is the oval window, this is the oval window, and this is the round window, and this is the promontory. Okay, so what is the importance of round window? We should know round window have a membrane surrounding or covering the round window, that is known as secondary tympanic membrane. Okay, this is the primary tympanic membrane, and the membrane that covers the round window is known as secondary tympanic membrane. And along with that, we should know that if the primary tympanic membrane vibrates in this direction due to the primary flow of the sound wave towards the inner ear, but the round window membrane or the secondary tympanic membrane vibrates in opposite direction. Why? Because the sound wave travels from the external ear towards the middle ear, and then it travels towards the inner ear. But due to the movement of the fluid, it goes like this and it comes back again in this direction. and the opening outlet of the returning fluid is towards the round window. That is the reason why the round window vibrates in opposite phase toward in relation with the tympanic membrane, primary tympanic membrane. Okay. Then the prominentia canalis facialis. It is the projection due to that is formed due to the facial canal. This is the facial canal that passes from the medial surface and it enters the posterior surface, and behind the posterior surface it travels in a backward direction. And along with that we have another prominentia or projection of ampullae canalis semicircularis horizontalis or lateral semicircular canal prominentia. Okay, so this is the lateral semicircular canal prominentia that are present on its medial surface. On the posterior surface or posterior wall of tympanic cavity, what we have? We have the air-filled cavities or the pneumatic cavities that are antrum, the air cells, then the adductus ad or this the opening passage. Okay, so these are the parts of the posterior that contains mostly pars mastoideus. Along with that, it has the processus pyramidalis. This is the processus pyramidalis and stapedius muscle and nerve. Okay, from the processus pyramidalis, the stapedius muscle and the nerve usually originates from this region. Okay, and apertura tympanica, it means the canaliculi for chorda tympani. This is the canaliculi or the apertura tympani that is present on the posterior surface, and it carries the chorda tympani. And as we know, the chorda tympani is a mixed nerve and it contains mostly the parasympathetic and the sensory innervation. Then the anterior or the carotid part. The anterior wall contains the canaliculi caroticotympani. The caroticotympani takes the carotid tympani nerve that innervates having the motor sensation. The eustachian tube contains is present mostly on the anterior surface of the tympanic cavity, and on the superior part of the eustachian tube we have the tensor tympani semicanal. Okay, the tensor tympani muscle that tenses the tympanic membrane, it has little bit superior towards the little bit superior of the eustachian tube. Okay, and finally chorda tympani fissura petrotympanica or glacieri. This is the anterior canaliculi that are present on the anterior wall of the tympanic cavity that carries the chorda tympani. So the chorda tympani moves from the posterior canaliculi and it moves in this direction towards the anterior canaliculi. Okay, so these are the important landmarks that are present on the walls of the tympanic cavity that you should remember, and through these landmarks only we are going to detect the walls of tympanic cavity. Okay, so this was all about middle ear. If you do understood something, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for watching my videos.